This one is so simple. You don't even, I actually don't even think you have to like have a real analytical mind to understand that Jalen Hurts went from 538 to 361 pass attempts year over year. So just put him right in between that. Just give Jalen Hurts 450 pass attempts in 15, 16 games, and you're gonna get AJ Brown from. This is actually okay. Again, listener at home, imagine how many targets you think AJ Brown got last year when he finished with 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. It's going to be about 30 more than you think. AJ Brown had 97 targets in 13 games last year. He had 50 fewer targets than Wan'Dale Robinson, just for example. So we get AJ Brown back to 120, 130 targets, considering how efficient this offense is. I think AJ Brown probably will relook at the 2025 season. We'll be like, that's crazy. He was the wide receiver 10.
All right, welcome to a special little edition here at Spike Week. Special guest Davis Maddock. I believe it's officially Short King Summer, so it's the perfect time for Davis to be around. I'm excited about the conversation we're going to have today. Before we get into it, like, subscribe, all that typical stuff, but also check the link in the description to go over to Davis's YouTube channel if you are not a member. Streaming an ungodly amount still of best ball related content, and plenty of it you will get to see draft of which he's selecting or bashing. I've noticed, Davis, a lot of FUD coming from the Maddock household so far this year. A lot less excitement about players. So I'm excited to pin you down today because we're going to talk about our favorite players in every single round. You don't get to just talk shit on
That's brutal.
So that's what we're going to do here today. In just 2 seconds, I'm going to pull up a little fake miniature draft board. We're going to go round by round. 18 rounds, underdog, thinking through the underdog lens, underdog ADP, right? And it's not super rigid, right? If you want to shift guys around just a smidge, I think it's totally fine. But Davis will go and I will go, and we'll give our takes on our favorite players in each one of those rounds. We have not discuss this at all.
No, this will be interesting.
So there could be a lot of crossover. There could be zero crossover. I genuinely have no idea how this is going to go, but I'm excited to see it. So let's go ahead and pop on into it. Davis, you get to go first with round one.
All right. Round one. I mean, I'll take Justin Jefferson, who I think probably in a fair and just universe where everyone was being rational actors would be the 101. Nothing. I'm not even casting aspersions on Chase or Barkley or anything, but like for as good as Jamar, no one ever believes me when I say this. They assume it has to be a lie. He's averaging 10 more yards per game in his career than Chase. He is, and I know Chase was awesome last year and everything, but he gets to play 9 games a year in a dome. Outside of, by the way, I went to go look at the 2019 Commanders offense, Eric, which was the first time Kevin O'Connell ever called plays.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a second right now and you're at home, go look at it. You're actually not going to believe the names and players involved in this offense. But every year other than that, KOC offenses have been top 10 in yards per pass attempt, total yards, passing touchdowns, exactly what you'd expect. The guy just absolutely cooks as an offensive coordinator. Now, I believe in JJ McCarthy. I think he's probably quite good. If you don't think that, then I could see thinking that Justin Jefferson is not a great first round pick, but I'm pretty much all in. And I think there's an argument. If you wanted this year to just like open up a puppy or a schnauzer or something and just set him as your 101 and have 100% of him in that, or 50% of him in that contest, I think that is like a cool strategy.
I love it. I love JJ. I know you loved JJ last year. I believe he was my highest owned first rounder last year because we got similar, not similar, but there's always feelings of angst around uncertain quarterback situations. No matter what KOC does, no matter what, all these Vikings quarterback, right? Nick Mullins, like it has not mattered who has been the quarterback. That was proven yet again last season with Sam Darnold. I'm a little lower on JJ McCarthy than you, but I could not be less worried about like the Vikings ecosystem, right? It's so much more about KOC and the Vikings ecosystem. And then you compare it, or you combine it with the fact that Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver on the planet, like in his prime. It's just, they didn't pass quite as much last year because the defense turned out to be pretty good. Am I counting on that to be sticky? Absolutely not.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you just, he is very much like a slam dunk. However, there's a guy, another wide receiver in the first round that I like in terms of best picks, right? You're not going to hear me say fade Justin Jefferson or whatever. I like a different wide receiver on one of the teams you happen to enjoy rooting for in the first round, and that's CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb catapulted himself not into the real life conversation of being with Justin Jefferson, but from a fantasy perspective, last year, what he did has really stuck with me. And we always worry about the quarterback stuff. And I was definitely worried about the quarterback stuff after Dak Prescott got hurt, right? CeeDee Lamb was my 101 last season. If everybody remembers, he was a 1-2 turn pick a couple of years ago, was incredible. Was the 101/102 last year, depending upon what you were doing with Christian McCaffrey or Jefferson or Chase, right? It was a little fluid. Then he comes out, does the CeeDee Lamb thing with no help. I mean, Jalen Tolbert, they're dusting off Kevontae Turpin. Ryan Flournoy is out there running routes for this team. It was just so disgusting what they had around him, and it didn't matter. And then the specific thing that really, really, sways CeeDee for me is when Dak went down, we didn't see any, we've seen dips for Jamar Chase when Joe Burrow hasn't played. We haven't seen it with Justin Jefferson, to your point. We've seen it with, AJ Brown and some of these other guys, right? Elite wide receivers. The quarterback play can impact them. CeeDee had his 2 best games and his 2 most efficient games without Dak Prescott playing last year. He was incredible. He's out there, you want to go full, does he have that dog in him? Like CeeDee Lamb has that dog in him. He was hurt down the stretch and refused to come out of games, even though their season was over. That floor of knowing, I don't know, nothing matters really. I'm going to get CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to get an elite wide receiver here. So he's just a tick cheaper than Jefferson in most drafts across most sites as well. So CeeDee gets just a tiny little tick over Justin Jefferson in this lens, right? Thinking about it through this lens.
I like it. Yeah, I think there's an argument to take Lamb ahead of Chase as well. And in fact, I think if we weren't also scarred from the way wide receivers got injured last year and the way running backs just pummeled us, I think Jefferson, Chase, and Lamb would be 1, 2, and 3. But there's just so much residual fear from how good Barkley was, how good Bijan ended the season, how good Gibbs averaged 30 points per game over the final 3 games of the season. And I'm not saying these guys are bad picks. It's actually more about in round 2, the drop off at wide receiver is precipitous, and the drop off at running back is not nearly as dramatic.
Perfect segue, a little foreshadowing, if you will. Your round 2 player. Is it one of these running backs, or are we still on the wide receiver train?
No, I actually am going to take a running back. I think it's Devon Achane. You can get him at mid-second, early second. Really, all that Achane needs to have to be the definitive story of the 2025 NFL season is let's give him half of his efficiency from his rookie year when he averaged 8 yards per carry. And then let's give him 75% of the workload he got last year. Not even all of it, right? Still some meat on the bone for Jaylen Wright. Still some goal line stuff for Ollie Gordon. Remember, Achane and Mostert finished running back 2 and running back 4 in points per game in this offense. This is a team that doesn't really have a third wide receiver. There are really big Jonnu people out there. I'm not one of them. I mean, I think Jonnu's fine, but I think that the Jonnu usage and the Tyreek quick hitting stuff last year was basically Mike McDaniel panicking and not he was I can't have Tua get hurt again. I just, my offensive line is terrible. And maybe the offensive line will be terrible again and Achane will be a bad pick. But if they can be the 13th best offensive line in the NFL instead of the worst or second worst in the NFL, you're looking at a 250 touch guy with, 80 receptions probably on you take 170 carries and 80 receptions for Achane. That is totally fine for his skill set. They're going to use him a ton in the red zone. I mean, that was what their whole offense was basically Achane space plays in the red zone last year. And he was really good at that. And I feel like he's kind of a man without a home now because the slappies are like, well, he's too expensive. And the Derrick Henry volume, the guys who were taking Barkley last year, they're like, well, Achane is a slappy running back, so I don't want to take him. Like, I feel like Achane doesn't really have big supporters anymore, but I'm still a big Devon Achane supporter.
That's a really, really good point, and I hadn't thought about it that way either. He is so last year I was like I really passionately believed, and clearly this worked out poorly, but like zero running back like principles didn't have to be like a super rigid, like you can't take your first running back till round 8 or whatever, zero running back type stuff, but just the way the market went so crazy with wide receivers and the way I thought some of the running back prices were so right. Cheap James Conner, cheap Chase Brown, cheap, like every backup is readily available for free. All you need is one injury, right? Blah, blah, blah. That didn't work out great. But this year I'm making some changes, and Achane is actually one of the second round running backs that I'm most excited about. So it's funny to hear you say that because I think he has a little bit of that CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson in him, where we're like, okay, we saw him do it on the most efficient running back season of all time, and we saw him do it through straight volume. It's like he can get there in enough that the Dolphins just need to return to form, and he's a smash, or he just keeps getting all the work, or he pops off a couple more long runs that he didn't last year. Like there's so many paths to success and very few paths to failure, actually, for Achane. So that one feels really good. My guys, it's kind of similar. It's a wide receiver, of course, but like I feel a little bit like I'm taking crazy pills about the Philadelphia Eagles. And like you said, I think what you mentioned about Saquon is also like a trickle down effect to the Eagles passing game, where last year AJ Brown's, the 7th overall pick or 8th overall pick in fantasy drafts, especially in best ball. DeVonta Smith is a 2-3 turn pick, right? We're really excited for the Eagles. Saquon was still going hot. Saquon was a second round pick himself. Obviously, they had a run out where it was run, never have to pass, never pass in the second half. Like I think they X'd all the pass plays out of the playbook, in the fourth quarter of most games. But like, again, do I expect the Eagles defense to be shit? No, of course not. I expect it to be awesome again, but like shit happens. Like some teams may just show up and play better, right? Like Washington was putting big points on the board against them in every single time. Like they just play a tougher schedule. They play better offenses. A couple defenders get hurt. And the next thing you know, right, God forbid, right, something happens to Saquon for a few games. You just get AJ Brown in the second round whenever you want him, proven superstar, as just as elite last year, efficiency wise. Just the volume wasn't quite there, and he still was like the wide receiver 14. Like, so in a season where they never pass the ball, like they throw it 300 something times, AJ Brown's still a top 15 wide receiver. And like I just see so many paths to the Eagles passing game, which we'll talk more about them in later rounds. Like it's the same thing with kind of all four of these guys. Is like, how do they fail? I can't really see it because we've seen like worst case scenario outcomes for all of them, and they didn't fail. So like I just sign me up for second round AJ Brown all day, every day.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, this one is so simple. You don't even, I actually don't even think you have to like have a real analytical mind to understand that Jalen Hurts went from 538 to 361 pass attempts year over year. So just put him right in between that. Just give Jalen Hurts 450 pass attempts in 15, 16 games, and you're gonna get AJ Brown from. This is actually okay. Again, listener at home, imagine how many targets you think AJ Brown got last year when he finished with 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. It's going to be about 30 more than you think. AJ Brown had 97 targets in 13 games last year. He had 50 fewer targets than Wan'Dale Robinson, just for example. So we get AJ Brown back to 120, 130 targets, considering how efficient this offense is. I think AJ Brown probably like will relook at the 2025 season. We'll be like, that's crazy. He was the wide receiver 10. He scored 15 touchdowns because things just went his way, and you could get him with Malik Neighbors, with Brian Thomas Jr., with Jahmyr Gibbs. Like just crazy starts are available with AJ Brown.
I'll just add the one last thing to what you said. So 97 targets, right? First of all, on 97 targets to put up almost 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns is absolutely ridiculous. Like this man is not human. But to compare to his first 2 seasons in Philly, right? Same team, same setup, him, DeVonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, nobody else matters in the offense. 158 targets in 2023. Why was he going as a first round pick? Because he had 160 targets the year before, and he's an elite efficiency player. The year before, 145, right? 1,500 receiving yards in both of those. You're just shy of 1,500 receiving yards, 18 total touchdowns. It's like there is a 1,600 yard, 15 touchdown season in the range of outcomes for AJ Brown. And they're like, God bless Drake London, right? I get it, but we're going to keep trying to make Drake London a thing, and I am too. But like AJ Brown is a thing. I know he's a thing, and I just need a little bit of good luck on the pass volume.
100%. Yeah, that's really all you need. Like 5% luck, and it's wheels up.
Exactly. All right, round 3.
This one is, I think, pretty easy. It's one of the 2 Chiefs guys. It's Rashee Rice or it's Xavier Worthy. I mean, I guess I'll go Rice because on Friday, May 9th, right now, the reporting sound like, and again, reporting can change. There can be something that happens, whatever. But the reporting is 1, he'd be healthy enough to play a game today based off of all the publicly available information. Now, maybe the team has a different opinion, whatever. Then the other information is his criminal case for the speeding incident on the highway in Dallas is not even on a docket. Like it just doesn't. It's in like still to be scheduled. The trial date you'll see is one that's in June, but that is a civil trial, and that is also probably going to be pushed back. Is probably not, according to Drew Davenport, who's had like the best information on the Rashee Rice stuff.
Everybody should go follow him. Yep.
So you're looking at a guy who in the 3 games he played last year, he was averaging 21.5 fantasy points per game. Pretty good. To me, he has the same profile as like Drake London in terms of like expected points. So I think it's probably Rashee Rice. Now the converse would be if all those things are not true about Rashee Rice, his knee's actually totally bungled and he's going to be hurt and suspended. Well, then Worthy is the right pick. Yep. But I think it's probably Rashee.
I'm with you. A lot of agreeing going on here. Rashee Rice, slam dunk, 3rd rounder. Also at you nailed it. There isn't much to add. It's really, really small sample, right? Like I don't want to draw too many efficiency. It's really easy to fall into traps of like efficiency numbers from 3 games, right? Because that could be like 2 big plays. But for him, it wasn't. Insane target earning. Xavier Worthy was playing. Granted, it was early season Xavier Worthy, and we saw him become a lot better down the stretch. But alongside Xavier Worthy, he was as elite as it gets, essentially. Like Puka had a better yards per route run than Rashee Rice end list. It was like he was a superstar. So same thing. Like it would have to be we're wrong. Yeah, we're wrong about the health, or we're wrong about the legality issues. And like even then, I mean, he's not going to get suspended for the whole season. It's
right. Even then,
like, he's going to play in week 17 if he's healthy. So who cares?
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Don't even really think it's up for debate. That one is pretty simple. We'll probably, I have a sense we're going to end up disagreeing about this one for round 4.
It does get a little spicier. Yeah. From round 4.
So I think that all the wide receivers in this range are basically the same. They're like guys who, if they have a really good season, could average, they could score 220 points in a really good season. Tet, Hunter, Moore, DeVonta, Flowers. Like, they're good seasons, but I don't think any of them are, honestly, I don't think any of them are in offenses that can support a 300-point scorer at wide receiver, which is like truly what is like, that is like the season, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall should get enough receiving work. I don't think he will see the 76 targets he saw last year or the 95 targets he saw before. I think it'll be more like 60 just because there'll be a lower volume offense. But that could also be wrong because their wide receiver 2 right now is Josh Reynolds.
Yeah, Allen Lazard. And I've had people asking about, like, what do I do with Justin Fields stacks? I'm like, absolutely not. You do not take Allen Lazard or Josh Reynolds, but that speaks to how dire it is on that offense.
And it sounds like Lazard might not even be a Jet. It sounds like he's probably going to be a Steeler whenever Rodgers decides. Yeah. So it's like, Maybe you just need to throw the ball to Breece Hall 4 times a game because you don't have another outlet. There's also, this always happens when a team gets a new rushing quarterback. There's always this panic about the running back because they're going to steal all the touchdowns. But historically, and I haven't checked this research in the last year or two, so it might be different. But historically, having a good running quarterback, like a quarterback with over 100 designed rushes, adds about half a yard per carry to the running back attempts on the team. Just makes sense. It just changes the way the defense has to defend you. Breece never had 1,000-yard rushing season, famously, but last year, like, everyone's memory of Breece is like, oh, this guy sucks. He had 1,400 scrimmage yards and 8 touchdowns last year. It was like totally fine for a round 4 running back anyway, but he also has very good ceiling. So I think it's Breece.
There's the tiniest little sliver, right, of trade talk as well, and he lands on the Chicago Bears, right, or something like that, and you're like, oh my god, home absolute slam dunk, right? Ben John, that's wish casting. I don't expect that to happen, but yeah, I don't. Breece is not my pick, but I don't disagree at all with your Breece logic. It's actually going to come up in one of my later round guys that you can probably guess. Beautiful. I imagine. Yeah. So I'm with you on the Breece Hall thing. Breece also, this happens a lot. I feel like you could probably apply this as well to the guy that I'm going to take in the 4th round, where a guy doesn't pay off his price from the year before. And so we just completely bury him. It's like, okay, sure. Breece was not a 1st round pick value wise last year. It's like, but he's also probably not a 4th round value either, right? He's probably 2-3 why can we take Chase Brown and Bucky Irving and right. those guys at the 2-3 turn, but not Breece? Breece is probably better than them, and we've seen it, right? He was just a 1st round pick. It's a lot of overcorrection when the guy doesn't hit the year before. It's hard because you only remember the negatives. You're like you said, most people would not have said 1,400 yards and closing in on 10 touchdowns, right? Still had 75 targets. The Jets were just a mess, dude. The Jets were just an absolute disaster, and it didn't go like how we wanted. Part of the Breece bet in the 1st round last year was the Jets, and the Jets didn't. The Jets tanked out, right? So I like it. Another guy who disappointed at his cost last year that I think we've just gone too far is continuing my Eagles bet. Eagles pass game. This is one of my kind of core stands of the season, is we've swung too far on the Eagles passing game. And I don't even need to elaborate too much on it. Like you mentioned, all I need is a little bit of luck, and all these, the big 3, right? AJ Brown, DeVonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert are at least a round underpriced, right? Obviously AJ Brown can only be, DeVonta Smith's probably a 3rd round, or we were right. He's a 2-3 turn wide receiver, right? Last year we were right, but we just now dude, sometimes you can get him pick 50, DraftKings, he'll fall even further. And it's right. I know what I'm getting. I know he's very good. I know he's on a very good offense, and I know they only throw it to 3 guys. The other big thing for him specifically that AJ Brown doesn't totally have is contingent value, right? T. Higgins can make this case. We thought maybe Jaylen Waddle can make this case. I think that remains to be seen. But if something happens to AJ Brown, this isn't like an NBA situation where, starting point guard is out, backup point guard Tyrese Halliburton misses the game, TJ McConnell comes in, and you're like, yeah, he's going to score a shit load of fantasy points. If AJ Brown misses time, Johnny Wilson comes in, and they don't throw the ball to Johnny Wilson. Exactly. They throw the ball to DeVonta Smith and Dallas Goedert, right? We saw this happen last year. We've seen it, proof of what happens. Dallas Goedert had the bigger game, but they just condense all their targets to the other guys, right? Remove DeVonta, and it's just AJ Brown and Goedert. It's not Jahan Dotson. It's not any of these other guys. And so I have this baked in floor with the offense and the player talent and this upside that is monstrous. And so, like I said, just need a little bit of luck and you have an absolute smash. And even without the luck, you're like, this is fine. He's fine. I'm not upset ever having him on my team in the 4th round.
I'm not ever upset about DeVonta Smith. I like Jameson Williams more, just for the pure, he could just run into a 14 touchdown season on no volume. But this, like I said, this range of wide receivers is generally, I find myself saying, if I need a wide receiver here, I might already be kind of screwed. I like to have the optionality to take a running back here, or take Kittle here, or take Jaden Daniels. The round 4, and I think it'll change a little bit over the course of the summer, when we just get some more data and opinions and stuff. Yeah. because that round 4 area is kind of gross.
It's where it's fine. Like once, I was gonna say Rice goes off the board, but depending upon how you feel about Davante Adams and Mike Evans, they're the 2 wide receivers that go after Rice and Worthy as well, right? But then you're into T-Mac, Travis Hunter, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, right? Cortland Sutton. It's like there is a difference in what those bets are in that spot. It's like they're not bad. I love Devontae Smith. I love Tet McMillan. I love, some of these guys. I like DJ Moore more than I think a lot of people do, but it's a substantially different bet than Rashee Rice, who is just like, I know he's incredible and he plays for the Chiefs. Like this is a really clean run out. So I'm with you. The Lamar falls sometimes there, right? Like Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts is there. There's a lot of good options that aren't wide receivers.
Yes. My round 5, I would love for it to be RJ Harvey. I'd love to just be able to put my name to that, but I'm not there. I'm not there yet. So I'm gonna take super boring pick, Jaylen Waddle. Just like basically the Dolphins just need to be like, okay. You don't even need Jaylen Waddle to be a better player than he's been. You just need him to do 2023, 72 receptions, 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. You'd like for him to get an extra touchdown. 2022, 75 receptions, 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns. Totally fine. You're actually doing cartwheels if he gets the 8 touchdowns, but it's like even like bad Jaylen Waddle. Like if he just is 20% better than like his worst season last year where he was brutal, you're like totally, he's a wide receiver 32. Like the boundary for mattering there is pretty low.
I totally agree. I think it's a lot like that's a lot of this stuff that we talked about, right? Dolphins offense. It's like it's kind of you nailed it, right? I want these situations where I just need a little luck, not a lot of luck. Like I just a little thing shakes out my way, right? And you're like, would love to have Jaylen Waddle on my team, right? Guy that we've been excited about for years. Also last year a 2nd round pick, and he's been buried even more than DeVonta has. And like it was, like you said, it was bad last year. But like, I don't know, he still had one like absolutely nuclear week, a couple of other very good games. And that's what the dude is, the Anthony Davis of the NFL at wide receiver. Like we don't account for the fact that he subs himself out. He limps to the sideline in the 2nd quarter of every goddamn game, it seems like. And it's like, yeah, but maybe he doesn't get hurt every single week.
Right.
And it's like we get full Jaylen Waddle experience. Dolphins take a nice little step and we have this like 2nd round wide receiver. So I'm totally with you. What I will say is I am taking your RJ Harvey leap. I am doing RJ
Someone
Harvey.
had to do it.
You got to. We can't have a best picks and have RJ Harvey in the 5th round and not talk about it. I get it, right? 2nd round pick. Some people may be shocked. I mean, I think I loved RJ Harvey and I was still a little shocked. But we've also heard some news recently coming out. I don't know if you read the Jaguars like little insider article that they like had quotes and stuff like that from the coaches where RJ Harvey was their guy. They were supposedly, linked to a bunch of running backs, even potentially Genty in the 1st round and all that kind of stuff. And Harvey was the dude they wanted. And they were having like inner, like, monologues debating, like, when do we just pull the trigger? When do we take RJ Harvey? We only have so many picks, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes off the board to the Broncos. And they're now calling the Broncos the bastards in Jacksonville because they're
no,
mad.
That's really funny though.
They took RJ Harvey from him. So they also liked Pat Bryant as well, interestingly enough. So I'm not saying that means anything. I'm just saying the NFL loved RJ Harvey and it came through and he landed in spot. Doesn't get much better, dude. Audric Estime probably stinks. Jaleel McLaughlin is, dollar store Darren Sproles. Like if RJ Harvey can play, the potential that we're drafting him, at the 1-2 turn next year, like what's the difference between him and all the, what Breece did, right? Breece was a 2nd round pick, really, really good player in not even that great of an offense. The Broncos are much better, smashed next year, 1st round pick, right? He has all the makings of this just guy who we look back and we're like, this superstar young running back on an emerging offense with Bo Nix and Sean Payton are great fits for fantasy production. I know it didn't go well last year, but that's because Javonte stinks and Estime stinks. It's like, if you can play, dude, Bo Nix made Bucky Irving, but like Bo Nix, like he was a check down king in college. He was breaking accuracy records because he checked it down so much. And we know what Sean Payton does. It's just like, it's all upside. It's all gravy in the 5th round with RJ Harvey for me.
So the reason why I don't have Harvey here is twofold. The first being, I think he's going to get cheaper. So that's a big part of it. Second part being, I just know that the history of Sean Payton is such that he doesn't and won't give any running back 300 touches. Like Kamara, you want to know a crazy thing. Like in our heads, we're like, oh, dude, Alvin Kamara, he's the best. He's the GOAT. Kamara, no 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Now, obviously, he's super, like, incredible pass catcher, has the season with 21 touchdowns, all that stuff. I mean, I like RJ Harvey, but I don't think he'd be surprised if he's Alvin Kamara level talent in the NFL.
It's hard to reach. Kamara is one of the best running backs in the league to reach. A decade. Yeah.
So I think JJ said this yesterday, and I can't get it out of my head. The best comp of like archetype for him in a Sean Payton backfield is Pierre Thomas, who was always like a good fantasy player and had like some spots where like other guys on the Saints were injured and he like super smashed when they were out. And maybe this will just be like dumb, like left, like middle curve FUD because Jaleel is not really any good. Audric Estime is not really any good. Tyler Beatty's not really any good. They'll probably stop the Marvin Mims out of the backfield stuff because like Harvey is like duplicative with that. But really it's just, I guess I'm not super certain his role yet, but mostly I just think I'll be able to get him in round 6. And like when rookie minicamp starts and Sean Payton is like, yeah, we really want to get a long look at Tyler Beatty. He'll get a little cheaper, I think.
The Tyler Beatty, you remember before the Bills playoff game, the Tyler Beatty reports, Tyler Beatty is going to have a big role in the game plan or whatever today. I think he had 1 carry. I think it was, but that's the Sean. I think the Sean Payton factor, is the concerning thing. The only thing that concerns me less is we never got Pierre Thomas, Mark Ingram, on Latavius Murray on down the list. We never got them to be these like mega smashes by themselves as standalone players, but they had Alvin Kamara, we don't know what they would have been without Alvin Kamara. RJ Harvey does not have Alvin Kamara next to him. Like Kamara is the guy that zaps all that from like the pure true ceiling, right? Like they can be useful. It's like, but we did see when Kamara missed games, right? Like Latavius Murray, like holy shit, Latavius Murray scoring 30 fantasy points, and you're like, he ain't any good. Mark Ingram, same thing. These guys are so like it's in there somewhere. I don't know how it's going to work out. I just know that like the talent and situation and everything at the price is like, I'm like, I'll just let the chips fall. I'll just let the chips fall.
I think that's totally fine, especially because like we like to control for all this stuff and we can't really control for it. And sometimes it's just as simple as like, I remember Hayden wrote an article about this once, like contingent value is actually the only thing that matters because NFL seasons are all about sliding doors, and the season where Estime like can't stop fumbling and Jaleel turns his ankle in week 4 and Harvey's getting 21 touches a game is like, well, yeah, if the season that happens, you only have like 4% of Harvey, you're like disqualified from winning. So you should just be thinking about things like that more.
Could not possibly agree more. I think a lot of the guys on our list and plenty more on my list you'll hear a lot about that. It is, I mean, the overwhelming majority outside of like, rookie, Lad McConkey and Brian Thomas Jr. are just stars immediately. Outside of like rookies and some weird little quirky guys, it's like literally always contingent value. It's like who has something, and it's not just, it's often injury, but like you said, it's the coaching staff loses faith in Audric Estime. And it's like, so guess what? We trust RJ Harvey. Like they knew Javonte sucked. They knew, they're not morons, but they were just like, what else are we going to do? The other guys are terrible. At least he blocks. They're like, at least Javonte, if we check to a pass, Javonte's not going to get Bo Nix killed. So sure, whatever. We'll deal with it. It's like Chase Brown. It was like, what the fuck are we going to do? Put Travion Williams in the game? Like, no, we're not doing that. Just give Chase Brown all the work. So that's half the battle. And so I think those are kind of some of the key targets. And we've mentioned some of those even at wide receiver, but what you got in round 6?
It's cheating a little bit because he's going to get more expensive, but right now you can get George Pickens in round 6. So it's like, I don't know, Dak has been Dak has been the quarterback 4. He's been the quarterback 1. He's thrown for 4,500 yards. They get to play half their games in a dome. It's just, and the target competition is just like, they're like, CeeDee can have a 30% target share and he can have a 28% target share, like, pretty easily. And Pickens is also the sort of guy who is so open to having a crazy touchdown variance season. He has 12 NFL touchdowns right now. So you might be thinking, like, what are you talking about? This guy sucks. He can't score any touchdowns. But because of where and how he generates his targets, he could run into like a pretty crazy touchdown season, actually. Like the high average depth of target, career ADOT 13.7. His contested catch rate has actually, I think this is encouraging. It's actually gone down. It was 38% as a rookie, but 33% the most recent 2 years. He just is. Yeah, I mean, you could just see it, man. He just is. It's not. You don't even have to have like an advanced football brain to be like, this guy who's kind of been mired with this awful quarterback play gets to play in a dome instead of outside in the AFC North. Now the reason why he's available in the 6th round is, the Steelers, they let go of these wide receivers. They go to 0 immediately. Offensive line risk, Dak injury risk. Like I'm not trying to have like 30% of George Pickens or anything. And there are some other guys I would have considered in this range, like Juwan Jennings, some of the running backs. But I mean, I do think Pickens offers like an insane risk reward here for round 6.
I'm with you. I think the phrase would be, sometimes you just know it when you see it with George Pickens. And that's what this feels like to me. It's just like, we could sit here and spout all these numbers, and talk about the Dallas offense and create a projection for George Pickens. And really, it's just like, I don't know, man. He's getting out of Pittsburgh. CeeDee's over on that other side, drawing a bunch of coverage. We know what Dak is. Like, seems like he's probably going to have a lot of opportunity to score a lot of points. And maybe, like you said, maybe he's dust. Maybe he is, Chase Claypool or Deontay Johnson, who at Pittsburgh somehow turned this guy into something that he isn't. But like, I would much rather bet on the outcome where he's still just George Pickens, who I also think was more talented than like most of those, other than Antonio Brown, than a lot of those Pittsburgh wide receivers who have kind of flamed out. It's like, if you can give me for sure 20+% target share, where does he fall? But it's north of 20% on the Cowboys. Like, their defense probably still is not going to be very good. They're going to have to pass. They're not going to run the ball efficiently. Javonte fucking Williams is their starting running back. We just talked about him with the Broncos. Like, it's just total wheels up. It when you see it with George Pickens. So I love him. He's also going to agree with you. He's going to get more expensive. So you have a finite amount of time here now, probably to try to get as much as you can before the ADP really adjusts. I have another, I know people are very, very shocked. I have another wide receiver here, but I do have a running back already. We're through 5 rounds, so we're not total 0 RB pilled, but minus Chris Godwin. It's could not be more different in how it plays out, but very similar to George Pickens, where I'm just like, I don't know, man. When he got hurt, he was the wide receiver 2 in fantasy, like 1 point per game behind Jamar Chase. Like, not even, I think, if I'm recalling. Like, he was a really good football player. Bucs offense is awesome. Yes, I get it, right? Injury. I understand all of the risks. So the like, aren't you worried conversation is real. Coming off dislocated ankle, a little bit older, they drafted Emeka Egbuka, right? You're like, well, what does that mean for Chris Godwin? I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means for Chris Godwin, but I know that I've seen him many years, including just last year, in this situation, be an elite fantasy producer, and he's in the 6th round, sometimes falling to the 7th, depending upon what site you're drafting. I'm just like, at a certain point, like, the upside outweighs all of those. It's like, aren't you worried? Yes, I'm definitely worried about any player with this injury situation, right? 1st round wide receiver, whatever. But like, that's priced in. If the worry wasn't priced in, the dude is like a 2-3 turn pick based on what he did. Right. If we're talking about all these guys that we move based on what they did last year, and this guy, we've dropped him based on what he did last year, even though he was incredible. Right. So it's just I'm legitimately worried about all the risk factors, but the price is so good. I just don't know how to not take this guy.
So I like hearing you say it. I don't disagree with any of the logic. And I have Godwin ranked like right at ADP. I take him. The concern is actually not really so much about his health. It's just Godwin before last season was actually like he was on the downturn of his career. Let me pull up his PFF page because I remember Gretsch had a couple in-depth articles about this on stealing signals.
He moved
outside.
Right? So he's a slot player. And so the Ibuka thing is interesting because they did move Jalen McMillan outside. If you recall, McMillan was like slot only at Washington. And even alongside Godwin, he was playing on that. Even when Godwin got hurt, McMillan, they were like playing Trey Palmer it was very strange.
Yes.
Ibuka has been a slot and McMillan has been a slot. So you need them to stay committed to Godwin in the slot or this plan all goes to shit. So that's definitely part of the risk factor as well, right? Like he had the down season because he's just not a prolific outside wide receiver. He's a do the dirty work yak player on the inside.
He went since 2021, 1.97, 1.73, 1.73 yards per route run, then bounced all the way up to 2.36 last year. And I guess, the thing that you really can't have if you have a big number on any of the Bucs guys, in any of them, Evans, Godwin, Ibuka, McMillan, is they can't be rotating that much. It can't be like
Chiefs Bills shit.
They all run 67% of the routes, and sometimes Godwin plays inside the 10 and sometimes he doesn't, and McMillan's in for Ibuka for blocking because he's bigger, just whatever. You just can't have any of that. And I don't know, I'm probably being a little bit too concerned about a third-round rookie pick who only played because Godwin got it. McMillan should probably just be viewed as well, if McMillan hangs around and he develops, that's nice, but he's not a big part of our team moving. Or if he's able to replace Mike Evans after he leaves.
Right. Evans is 32. Godwin's not a spring chicken. So
correct.
They can like those guys and still not play them that much this year.
Yeah.
McMillan was bizarre too, right? Like a million touchdowns. It was very Jahan Dotson-y.
Very
Jalen
Jahan
McMillan
Dotson-y.
season was super Jahan Dotson-y, which is terrifying if you're a bull for Jalen McMillan.
Yeah. Okay. My round 7 is Kaleb Johnson. This feels so non-controversial. A 220-pound running back who played at Iowa. He had more yards from scrimmage than Iowa had passing yards his final season at Iowa. He got drafted in the 3rd round by a team who has a 208-pound third down back as their other back on the roster. It's probably going to be 32 out of 32 in PROE. Right now they don't have a quarterback, even if it is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers obviously is an upgrade, but I don't care if Mason Rudolph and
Will Howard.
Yeah, I don't care if Will Howard is the quarterback. Kaleb Johnson. If Jaylen Warren either gets injured or the team is just whatever, we're sick of you, we've done the Jaylen Warren thing, you're fine, but you're not who we want. Kaleb Johnson could he could have a 28 rush attempt game in the fantasy playoffs. And I really loved him as a prospect. And then I still liked him even after he ran the slow 40. I thought he would run a faster 40, but he's kind of, this is not a 1-to-1 because I think he was a better player, but it's very similar to me. It's very reminiscent of Brian Robinson Jr., where I just knew that Brian Robinson Jr. was going to get drafted and whoever was his coach was just going to love him. He just doesn't do anything wrong. Very dependent, never fumbles, just kind of gets what's blocked. Not fancy.
Takes a bullet for the team.
Takes a bullet for the team. That's exactly what Kaleb Johnson is. Arthur Smith is going to love this dude. Arthur Smith is going to love having Kaleb Johnson in the huddle.
Oh, Mike Tomlin. I mean, good Lord. This is peak Mike Tomlin. I'm with you. I had in my pre-draft rookie rankings, which I've changed a little bit. And this is kind of like what you were talking about in the 4th round, where you're I can make a case for all these wide receivers. I'm not really trying to slight Zay Flowers just because I like, Devontae Smith better. But that's how I felt about the top of this running back class. But I liked Kaleb Johnson more than Amari and Hampton. Actually, I had Trevion Henderson as my running back too. So it's obviously Genty, Trevion, Kaleb Johnson. then Hampton was the order in which I had the top, which again is not any, in the NFL, or at least the Chargers liked Hampton a little bit more than I did, and Kaleb falls to the third. But I think he just rocks, and the fit is like, again, it's like, it when you see it. Like, this is fucking hand in glove, dude. This is everything Mike Tomlin wants to do. This is everything Arthur Smith wants to do. This is what they showed us that, we all like Jaylen Warren. I'm sure he's still a fine football player, but he just ain't you don't build the plane out of Jaylen Warren. You build the plane out of Kaleb Johnson, because Iowa just did it, right? And they were really successful. My favorite Kaleb Johnson college stat is, this is also somehow hilariously an Ashton Jeanty stat and kind of an RJ Harvey stat. I like to look at breakaway yards and like see like how much of your yardage is coming from your long runs, and like dive into that a little bit. Like, what percentage of the time are you having 15 plus, which is what a breakaway is classified as PFF, 15 plus yards. Kaleb Johnson was second in the entire. So despite being slow and despite being huge, he was second in the entire country in breakaway yards last season at 861. Ashton Jeanty had 1,366.
Yeah, crazy
breakaway yards. But RJ Harvey was third at 827. DJ Giddens is fourth in the entire country at 737. So like, Jeanty gapped the field, but then there was Kaleb and Harvey that kind of gapped. There was a tier break after like RJ Harvey down to Giddens, Hampton, some of the Tuten, Scattaboo, right? Some of those guys. And it's like, so he's that big, but like, this isn't Najee, right? This isn't B-Rob. Like, there's more juice. This is like B-Rob with breakaway ability. And like that seems pretty fucking awesome in the 7th round.
100%. Yeah. It's just, I don't know, man. If he would have ran a 4.49, everyone would be he'd probably be a round 5 pick in these contests.
100%. My 7th rounder is maybe a little more controversial, but you can probably sense I really, really like Kaleb Johnson, by the way. He was my honorable mention 7th rounder here, but you'll sense a trend of the injured veteran wide receiver here for me with Stefon Diggs. This is not a name. It's so hard for me, honestly, to even like type it out and talk about him as the best pick of any round, because it's so not like how I would generally play the wide receiver position, right? Older, changing teams, ACL injury. Like, there's a lot of red flags, but it's also very similar to me to the Godwin thing, where it's like, I don't know, man. Like, we're getting good, positive health reports out of Stefon Diggs, and everybody's been hunting for a Patriots wide receiver for the last 2, right? We did the Jalen Polk thing. We're going to do the Kyle Williams thing now, right? Well, whatever, some Pop Douglas. We did Javon Baker last year, right? We keep trying to find Patriots wide receivers. And it's like, I don't know. They just got Stefon Diggs, and I'm not paying 4th round prices, right? I'm not paying, like, how do I draft Achane and Breece and Kaleb and still get enough wide receiver firepower? It's like, ironically, this aging wide receiver who maybe starts a little slow and then comes on as the season, like, when you project out the Patriots, assuming a fully healthy Stefon Diggs, like, he's the man in this offense. He's attached to Drake May with a smart coaching staff. I'm just like, it's a lot of really positive things. And the aren't you worried, the age and the injury are priced in. And I'm willing to make that bet and live with the results, because I might get double-digit targets every week, Stefon Diggs attached to superstar Drake May in the 7th round. Like, it's fine. Like, the risk is worth the upside for me.
I think he's fine. Like, to me, I think Steph Diggs is totally fine. I neither think he is a bad pick, nor am I like windmilling it in. And maybe that is like, maybe I'm like just like too anti-slappy, and I'm like, oh, Kyle Williams, like, I don't know, round 3 wide receivers suck all the time. Just all the time. Or I don't. I think it's just like a guy turns 30 and they just like cease existing to me.
Right.
Really, might just be.
That's how it's been for me. That's why it's hard. Yeah.
I will say this. I think he might be an example of another guy who might get cheaper because right now it's all slappies. May 9th, dude, it's all slappies. It's all Spike Week subs. It's all legendary upside subscribers. Like August 3rd. We get some people who are signing up with promo code Belichick, or whatever. Like, I think it'll drift a little bit. There will also be, and I don't know when this is going to happen. I don't know what the exact context of the report will be, but there will be a moment in time where there'll be, Diggs might not be ready week 1. Diggs might go on the pup, and maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't, but it won't be all roses. Diggs running all these routes, that is not happening.
Yep, I think that's totally fair. Especially, I know we're using underdog as the baseline here, but if you get any hint of negative sentiment about Stefon Diggs on DraftKings, he's going to plummet into the hundreds.
Yeah,
because that's what happens with those guys over there.
Yeah.
Round 8.
I mean, round 8, it starts to get a good bit. You could take DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson, Isaiah Pacheco, kind of these veteran, 13 point per game running backs, whatever. And I think they're all good picks. I'll do Kaleb Williams though. I'll do really just to highlight that these are the quarterback rounds. Rounds 8 and 9 is where it really starts to thin out at wide receiver. Like we kind of get to the 2 years ago it was the Bateman line. Last year was kind of the Cortland Sutton line.
Mm-hmm.
This year I'd probably call it the Darnell Mooney line. Maybe even honestly, maybe even realistically the Jaden Reed line, to where you start to get into a real different tier of player. But Ben Johnson, Loveland, bang, Burden. He's got, they trade for Thuney, trade for Drew Dahlman, and signed the other guy, John.
What is the other guy's name? But yes, their whole starting center and both guards upgraded in one quarter.
So, let's not make any excuses for Kaleb this year. If Kaleb needs excuses this year, it's probably over. It's probably not happening for Kaleb if he still needs excuses after this season.
Totally with you. In on Kaleb. Kaleb is, frankly, the Bears are very difficult to diagnose in the non-Kaleb players, but I feel really it's like one of those weird things where I'm like, I love what I see from this offense potentially, but I don't really know who the hell is going to benefit them. Like if you told me Luther Burden leads the team in targets, I might be a little surprised, but like not that crazy. If you told me Rome Odunze takes a second-year leap, right? You told me DJ Moore is still just DJ Moore. I don't know. You told me they trade for fucking Breece Hall, right? Or pick up a veteran running back, and it's not Swift, it's not Roschon. Like I could see a lot of things, but so that all funnels you back to like, well, there's one guy who's not impacted by any of that. He just needs to play better and the offense be better, and that's Kaleb. So I'm with you. Same thing. Round 8, we had the same. It's not Kaleb for me, but it's Baker. Exact same premise.
Same. Yeah, Baker also great
quarterback in the round where I hate everyone else for the most part. Give me just this quarterback bet. Not too much to add on Baker other than the Bucs offense is amazing. Like I'm still not sure, it's not like all the guys are cheap, but I'm not sure that the market like really thinks about the Bucs as an elite offense. And I think they are an elite offense because it's you're still just like, Baker Mayfield doesn't feel like Joe Burrow. Baker Mayfield doesn't feel like Jalen Hurts or whatever, but he was the QB4 in fantasy last year. He played like an absolute elite superstar quarterback. And Joe Burrow was the QB3, just barely ahead of Baker Mayfield. And we're cool taking that dude in the 4th round, and I can get Baker in the 8th, right? Or the upside bets like Kaleb, like some of these other guys. So I love the quarterback range. So that's kind of what I was highlighting as well with Baker.
Yeah. I mean, this is just it's just the window where we're at. I mean, it's pretty much
old school QB window.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really all there is to it. I like never am taking running backs or wide receivers in round 8 or 9. I'll do you can flip it either way. I mean, I'll put Travis Kelce here, which I don't even really believe this. Like, I don't think I do believe this, but I don't think Travis Kelce can be a league winner this year. Like, I don't think Travis Kelce can have 1,400 yards and 12. But what it is Kelce, Andrews, Loveland, Ingram, not Tyler Warren at all. But and you could also make this. You could Purdy maybe would be my second one here. Purdy I might even believe in more, but it more just highlights you can kind of get tight end points in this range. It's available. And Kelce, I suppose I liked him more when he was tight end 10 than tight end 7. But it feels kind of crazy that you can just like lock up 110 targets at tight end in round 9. Like Kelce was actively bad last year, like actively bad, and he had 97 receptions, And the Chiefs could be it's actually crazy. I just was clicking around on Underdog this morning. Mahomes went from 430 Underdog points in 2022 to back-to-back seasons of 293.
Jesus Christ.
Like if he doesn't, I'm not even saying we need a Mahomes MVP. The Chiefs were 13th in the NFL in yards per play last year. Like not even really a good offense, just like a very mediocre offense. If they could just be the 4th best offense, they don't have to be better than the Bills, they don't have to be better than the Bengals, they don't have to be better than the Ravens. They can just like kind of be who they were the first 6 years of Mahomes' career. Kelce is just is going to kind of float to being like the 3rd highest scoring tight end.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm 4 spots ahead on Kelce. It makes me feel gross because everything about this guy who I've watched kind of disintegrate to dust.
Yeah, he's just actively disintegrating.
Yeah, but still, to what we classify as nuclear weeks, which are like multiple standard deviations above the average score at a position. The highest at tight end last year was 3. He had 2. So he's right there. He was right there with the Kittles and Bowers and all that from like a total ceiling still there. Is he going to have a lot of down games? Yeah, he is. Right. They're not taking the regular season all that serious, and the offense made. But like now we got Rashee Rice back, year 2 Xavier Worthy, like Hollywood in the second year with the team. Like who knows? Maybe Jalen Royals is a thing. Like I don't know. Pacheco's back, right? Like what if the offense is just good again? Like
what if they're what if they're just kind of good?
And it's not because it used to be good because of Travis Kelce. Now it's good because of the other guys, and he gets brought along for the right. He used to bring dudes along he would bring MVS along for the ride. He would bring whoever, right? Whatever outside shitty wide receiver that would catch 6 touchdowns. He used to be the guy that brought him and Tyreek, right? Now Rashee and Worthy and those guys are going to bring him along for the ride. And like he scores 8 touchdowns or something. And you're like, oh shit, he was the tight end 4, because he's Travis Kelce on the Chiefs. I think it's kind of easy to see, even though it's gross. I hate it. I hate the click every single time. The click that I love, that's a lot sexier, is my favorite rookie wide receiver, Trey Harris. I won't go into another long soliloquy about Trey Harris because I've done it about 47 times since February. But he's my favorite rookie wide receiver, like cost adjusted. My favorite rookie wide receiver in this class. Certainly an imperfect player, but landed in the perfect spot. So outside of the top 100, got the second round draft, right? We came into the draft. If you were a donkey like me that loved Trey Harris, you're like, please God, day 2, please. Like hopefully second round, but just day 2. Check, right? Gets the second round draft capital. And then you're like, give me one of these spots where his skill set is a good fit. Right? Don't give me this Packers shit. Don't give me this, don't give me the Saints. Don't give me something like that. Chargers. Holy shit. Slam dunk, like Justin Herbert. They need what he brings alongside Lab McConkey. They've been trying it with QJ. They brought back Mike Williams, right? Like if he can play at all, and even if he's just like not that good, but can make some big plays down the field, which is what his, kind of the main feather in his cap.
Right.
I just round 9, like sign me up. So I love me some Trey Harris.
Yeah, I got no issue with it. So I find him hard in drafts because I generally don't need a quarterback there. So I don't do the double tap, the Trey Harris Herbert thing, which is happening a lot. But yeah,
it's my favorite one.
I like Trey Harris. Trey Harris is a good pick.
I'm just going to cheat because I did the Chargers thing and say that in round 10. This is also a little bit of a proxy. I would classify this as Justin Herbert / Drake May in round 10 for me, but we've kind of talked about that already. It's a QB spot. Justin Herbert rocks, gets the Trey Harris upgrade, and we like pick 120. What the fuck are we doing? Pick one. Like the quarterbacks from when you started with Kaleb kind of on down through round 10, round 11 are just awesome. And I think they need to be highlighted in this range.
Yeah. I'll cheat a little bit too then. and I'll take Brock Purdy for round 10 because you definitely can get him in around 10. It's not
quarterbacks
impossible.
move.
I mean,
The quarterbacks move around.
quarterbacks
Draft to
move.
draft.
It depends. Does the Ayuk drafter have Lamar or whatever? Right. But I mean, Purdy has I guess the thing about Purdy is he's a nice catch-all because you could take him if you have McCaffrey, you could take him if you have Kittle, if you have Jennings, if you have Pearsall, if you have
5
Ayuk.
guys.
Yeah, I kind of like all those guys. Not Ayuk. I'm an Ayuk hater, but open to changing my mind.
We'll see. His injury was a lot more serious, right? That's like the Diggs thing is that his injury was not as serious as Brandon Ayuk, and Diggs was in October and Ayuk was in November, I think, something like that. So,
and Ayuk hasn't started running routes and doing all that stuff.
He also sucked last year, even when he was
healthy. He also sucked. He also let his contract stuff get in the way of being ready for the season, and it showed up on the field. And Juwan Jennings kind of dominated him, and Pearsall being useless for a month and then all of a sudden being really good. I thought that that is bad for Brandon Ayuk. If Pearsall can be a target earner, because the thing about Ayuk is he's never earned volume as a 49er. There's always been someone a little bit better than him. Even his good season was on the 105 targets, he's
an efficiency play.
He's an efficiency guy.
And the efficiency went away last year, and then he got hurt. It's pretty scary.
It's pretty, and he's entering into his age. What is it, 28 season? So sometimes age 27. So actually, it's age is probably fine. I don't know. I just don't love it.
Yeah, I feel even ickier clicking Ayuk than I do Travis Kelce. If that tells you, I think that kind of sums it up.
That should tell you something.
I see it, right? It's Brandon Ayuk and we're getting a major discount and it's the 49ers, whatever, but it doesn't feel good. What about round 11?
Bhayshul Tuten. Yeah.
I should have just had that one in there already.
I think. Top speed score, running back at the combine, goes to the nutted spot with Liam Cohen. Just has to beat out Tank Bigsby, who was the worst running back in the NFL 2 years ago. He was fine last year. I think ETN is trending towards, I would imagine, being cut, probably.
They're going to try to trade him, right?
Yeah, they're going to try and trade him because it's just from a coaching perspective, just okay, we have this former first round pick who's used to getting the ball, and we don't really want to give him. It's why the Jaguars, this is 7 regimes ago, they cut Fournette. They would have been happy to keep Fournette around if he was comfortable being in a timeshare, but he would have been annoying about it. I don't know anything about Travis Etienne. Maybe he would be fine with it, but I would guess probably not.
3-way timeshare, first round pick, got all the work at Clemson. It's a swift drop off. Yeah. So I'm going Tuten here. I mean, I just think he's awesome. And I think he can do either thing they want him to do in the backfield. He can be the pace and space pass catcher, whatever, or he can be the early down grinder. I just think he's kind of uniquely capable. And I think, by the way, the tell that they'd like to get rid of ETN is that they also took LaQuint Allen. Right. I think that was the tell of being we'd be fine with these two guys in Tank. Yep. I think that makes a ton of sense. He was on my list. I did opt for Trey Benson in this spot, a little bit similar-ish kind of bet. Not quite the same. Tuten has a path, right, to just taking the backfield without an injury. James Conner is always going to be a thing. However, James Conner is 30. They specifically drafted Trey Benson last year in the 3rd round because they realized we can't keep doing, we can't keep getting away with this type situation with James Conner playing every snap at his age with his injury history, right? His health history, and just kind of the archetype of player that James Conner is. Very physical type runner, takes a lot of big hits. Trey Benson had a very, very weird rookie season. Came out, I can't remember if it was week 2 or week 3, had 11 carries for 10 yards. And this wasn't just he got stopped in the backfield a few times. He was dejected about it afterwards. I believe in an interview, he talked about how he was I was so amped up and I wanted to hit a home run every single time. And I just misread every, I was awful, right? I was completely horrible. And it kind of stuck with him. And then you started to see the typical rookie kind of improvement from that point on. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry last year on limited volume, But we saw a bunch of games of like, oh wow, 8 for 65, caught a couple passes, scored a few touchdowns. But he was just doing the thing that we were like, okay, we're getting this. Give him 20 to 25% of the backfield. Let Connor rest a little bit. Then he got hurt. So we didn't really get to see it down the stretch. And of course, they missed the playoffs. I just think like another year, we saw the growth. We saw what we were expecting to see last year. And now he's like kind of cheaper. And Connor's a year older. Right. And so I think he's going to play a real part, maybe, 40% of the backfield to start the season, ease Connor in. And who knows, right? The contingent value. Talked about contingent value earlier. He has insane contingent value. So I love him. He's right there with Tuten in round 11.
Yeah. I just kind of nothing Trey Benson. I think he's fine. I'm probably just like too current year rookie pilled on on these guys.
It's easy. Yeah, to have happen though. I think Tuten is a good, like just a genuinely good pick. What about round 12? We're getting into this. We're getting into the thick of the shit here. With some of these guys.
This is kind of the last tier of wide receiver that I'm excited to pick. I'm gonna go Jack Bech. You could put Hollywood Brown. You could put like Jaylen Knoll or something, but Jack Bech, I'm like way over market on Jack Bech. No disrespect to Jakobi Meyers. Even if you think Jakobi Meyers is awesome and he's going to get 100 catches this year, there's still meat on the bone for Bech because he just really has to play over Trey Tucker. Like that's it. That's his only impediment. And Michael Mayer, who I don't think will play very much less with this coaching staff. Chip Kelly historically has not run a ton of 12.
They led the league in 12 last year at like 36%. That is not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Chip Kelly, everyone hates him. He was so bad, yada, yada. I mean, those Eagles offenses, they led the NFL in plays every year, led the NFL in rushing attempts. They were second in total passing yard. Like the pace of play stuff is just such a force multiplier, and it's just so evident. And I thought Bech was a good prospect. He's got some red flags, does absolutely nothing. The in between the breakout freshman season and the final season at TCU, he just did like nothing.
It's so weird. It's one of the weirder profiles I can. I mean, he came in as a tight end.
Yeah, and he led LSU in receptions, playing with 4 NFL players: Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Trey Palmer, and Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Trey Palmer, and now I got to go look it up.
Yeah, it's gonna piss me off. This is the guys sit around all day in their basement and name random athletes part, but it will absolutely make me mad if we don't.
Kayshon Boutte.
Kayshon Boutte, yeah, who was a huge recruit, by the way. I know people are shocked about him playing, and I am still shocked that he played like every snap for the Patriots last year. But he was like, everybody thought Boutte, like before Neighbors became Neighbors, like Boutte, like everybody thought Boutte was going to be like, holy shit, this is the next superstar. This is their Marvin Harrison Jr., their Jamar Chase, whatever.
Yeah. People thought he was the next first round wide receiver from LSU, and Bech had more receptions than all of them, and then immediately went to 0. But basically, Raiders, they play in a dome. They're going to play all these games in a dome. They're going to play in a division with a bunch of offenses that are going to score points. It's really set up for him to just have like a 65 reception rookie season at a nothing cost.
Yep. I think it's genuinely possible that he's just really good. I struggle to see that a little bit more with Kyle Williams, where like you said, Bech has some of these things like that LSU nugget. Okay, then he transfers, but he like takes over an offense. I think you still like Savion. But coming into this past year, we kind of all thought that Savion was going to be the alpha lead wide receiver for TCU, and it like sort of started that way, and then they basically moved Savion to running back.
Moved him to running back
but they had Bech, right? They had crappy running backs, and they had Bech, and so they built the passing game around Bech, and it was like, wow, this is
and he smashed,
and he was awesome. Yeah, and he was awesome. So whereas Kyle Williams, like they needed to like move to the Mountain West. He needed to be a 5th-year senior, play with John Mateer against like fucking Wyoming, and New Mexico and all those kind of schools. And it was like, I don't know, Bech, there's a lot more perks for me. And I like Geno. I like the Chip Kelly thing. I like the dome. I like they're the most Steelers ass team ever. The Raiders, like,
yeah,
they are trying to win 9 games and be the 7 seed so bad. And I think Bech can be a pretty big part of that. Actually, I'm more confident in like his routes and everything than someone like a Kyle Williams. My round 12 is yet another Eagle pass catcher, but I mentioned that's my kind of like one of my flag plant things of the year, so I won't elaborate it on anymore. But Dallas Goedert is the epitome of like fine no matter what happens. Like, you're not like excited about Dallas Goedert, if they don't throw and nobody gets hurt. But it's like, I don't know, man, just like a little bit more passing volume, or like AJ Brown misses 2 games. It's like he's like the tight end 3 overall when AJ Brown misses games, and I can get him in round 12. So sign me up.
Yeah, 100%. Got absolutely no issue with that.
Did just resign. He also saw the writing. He took a pay cut because he was like, they might trade me or cut me.
Yeah, he saw the writing on the wall there, which is okay. Smart. You could maybe even say that speaks well to his business acumen.
Round 13.
Let's go Isaac Guerendo. Just another. Really, it's just a way so I don't have to say Kyle Pitts, but Guerendo is.
Pitts? Are you in on Pitts?
Yeah. What can you do, man?
I know.
It's like, if you're going to give me 15 identical tight ends who all project for 600 yards and 4 touchdowns, I'm at least going to take the one who's going to go 4 straight games without a catch and then just randomly rip off 120 and 2. Because that's what Kyle Pitts is, an archetype that doesn't really exist in the NFL now. He's a deep threat tight end, but he doesn't do anything near the line of scrimmage. He does no possession work at all. So he's just going to go through these long stretches where he doesn't do anything. But Guerendo, I think probably McCaffrey will step back a little bit. Like, I don't think he's going to play 95% of the snaps. So Guerendo will have a little bit of standalone, but he also is probably like just an elite S tier handcuff. So he should be priced like with Trey Benson and Zach Charbonnet.
Agreed.
Yeah. Not that Jordan James is like a 0. Because I don't think he is.
Are you drafting him?
Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, I just round 18. I'm just kind of clicking a lot of these rookie running backs with a pulse. But yeah, Guerendo is the Mason trade. I think was more about him than it was about McCaffrey.
Yeah,
I think it was more about feeling like we're good with Guerendo as our running back 2, if need be.
And we can bolster, right? We can add a running back 3. Like you said, with a Jordan James or whatever, and we're cool going to war with this. I think Guerendo proved in his little bit of work that he got last year that he's that's a worthwhile guy to health aside, is a worthwhile guy to trust. It's very, very similar, kind of like the quarterback thing where you did Kaleb and I did Baker. It's the exact same like concept for me here. I'm going Tyler Allgeier, but it's premium handcuff, where it's like, I know what I'm getting. Obviously, to hit the ceiling, Bijan needs to get hurt or miss games. But the thing that happens with these guys sometimes is like, you don't need like, it doesn't have to only be like torn ACL, miss the whole season.
No, it could be like hamstring strain. He's out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, concussion, misses. So gets a concussion in quarter 1 and then misses the next game. And it's like, dude, I just got 2. This guy now projects as the RB5 this week. Right. It's the Chase Brown thing. It's like, so like when something happens, I now have a guy that I took in the 12th or 13th round who projects as one of the best plays. Right. We're all playing him in DFS. Right. $5,800 Tyler Allgeier is 65% owned on DraftKings or whatever, because Bijan's not playing that week. Is like same thing. Guerendo. Right. No CMC. Like, sign me up. So this is where we get to that range. Right. Starting with Tuten is different, but same idea where we get to these double-digit rounds, and I'm just like, what's the scenario in which the contingent value comes through for these guys, and what does that look like? And like Tyler Allgeier is like, I don't know, Bijan's a first-round pick, and I know Tyler Allgeier is good. He did it as a rookie. It's been seen. So that seems easy. And Guerendo did it last year, right? Without McCaffrey and without Mason. So slam dunk.
No, super, super easy. Yeah, I just don't. I honestly, I don't even. I mean, really understand why he is not like a 12th round pick, because he's one of the few true, like, we know he is the handcuff. Like there's not, I don't even know who the running back 3 on this team even is.
I actually don't either.
Yeah. So feels pretty straightforward.
Oh my God. There's zero chance either of us would guess this. Here's the ESPN depth chart. Bijan, Allgeier, Jace McClellan.
I could have pulled that. From preseason.
How many guesses would it have? Yeah, how many?
It would have taken me a while, but over a long enough timeline, I could have pulled that. I think
running back 4 is UDFA Carlos Washington Jr., who I definitely have not heard of before just now. Southeast Louisiana.
I knew Casey Washington, who's like their wide receiver,
who
6.
is on there. Yeah, who is on the Falcons. But Carlos Washington Jr. Age, he is a rookie, and he is 26 years old. From Southeast Louisiana. That's the RB4. So, yes, I'm very confident Tyler Allgeier is the backup.
Pretty confident, yeah.
Round 14.
Round 14. This is generally a range where I'm starting to look at another quarterback or another tight end. You know what? This is like the most boring pick imaginable. But I take Adam Thielen here all the time. Just because I'm like, wide receiver is so dusted after this. Thielen is probably about done. But every time I keep thinking Adam Thielen is about done, he just rips off another like straight 6 weeks of being this
cockroach.
14th best wide receiver in the NFL.
Cockroach,
and it's like, what's the difference between being 34 and 35? You know, like I feel like if Thielen can get it done at 34, he could probably get it done at 35. And maybe it'll just be terribly bad. And this will just be like Adam Thielen's like on IR by week 5 and it's just totally over. And they're just playing Coker or whatever. But I don't know, man. It's last year he played 10 games, 615 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, he had multiple stretches. He had 9 for 102 against Philly. He had 5 for 110 and 2 against Tampa. Like, I don't know, man. It feels like he probably should be, I don't know. He's probably going to score more points than like Josh Palmer.
Who I actually do like, and I was going to mention Josh Palmer, but I did a stream yesterday talking about the best values. So kind of a similar framing to what we're doing here, but each position breaking down who I think are the best values. And I did not put Adam Thielen on the list. I did actually put Josh Palmer, but I would lump Thielen and Palmer into this. Just like, look, we don't have to like it, but like, it just is. Like, he was the wide receiver 28 in points per game added last year, Adam Thielen. 28. That's like in the 6th round or 5th round of drafts, like in terms of how that would rank ADP wise. And it's like, yeah, okay, they got T-Mac now. He's not going to be that. But it's like, it's the same thing as like, I would be disingenuous if I touted Chris Godwin and Stefon Diggs and some of those guys and said the upside is just worth it at this price. And wouldn't do that for Adam Thielen. It just is. And I drafted him. I drafted Thielen and Josh Palmer on a team yesterday because I needed these dusty ass chaperones, right? Mm-hmm. When you got Trey Harris and you got Rashee Rice and you got these, potentially injured guys, you're like, sometimes I might need that first month of Adam Thielen. I just think he's a good click. I don't really think it's even that debatable, honestly. We've been doing this for years. We've been doing this for years, trying to bury Adam Thielen. And it's like, okay, so even if this is the year that it happens, I still didn't pay anything for it. Who fucking cares? It's the 14th round. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're going to miss on these guys all the time. And there's like this thing that happens when you're drafting best ball teams. You're like, oh, I got to win the draft with every pick. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes Thielen is just like, dude, he's going to give you 14 points in the right week.
Yep. Right. Have that 9 for 102 in one game or whatever. Week 15, because Justin Jefferson had a bad game, and you moved your Justin Jefferson team on to week 16, and boom, right? Then JJ does his thing, whatever. It's like 100%. those guys are just valuable. My round 14, you scroll back for anybody, check the timestamp for Davis's Breece breakdown, and you can basically get the exact same thing that I would say for Braelon Allen, where I just
love Braelon Allen.
I just don't like, and again, I'm not projecting a Breece trade or anything like that. It's just like everything that you outlined with the Jets like applies to Braelon. He's going to play, by the way. Like this isn't just like straight handcuff. Like this is like Breece 65, Braelon 35, maybe as a project. I haven't done projections yet, but like something like that. You want to talk about a great fit next to Justin Fields for gaining some efficiency rushing? Holy shit! How about the Braelon Allen's like the Jason Tatum of running backs, like forever, 19 years old. And I don't know, round 14, Breece has a sliver of trade potential, and you might get the Jets starter in round 14. Like, I don't know. It just seems, again, like these kind of backup running backs just seem pretty awesome.
Yes. Any backup running back that you think is a really good handcuff and might just run into 8 touches in a good spot and score twice, which is Braelon had one of those games last year, is just a great.
Is that week 2, week 1, week 2?
It was pretty early. It was pretty early. My round 15 guy is basically the same thing. It's Roschon Johnson. Ooh. Just like, Swift is coaches kind of hate him. Yeah. He's Roschon Johnson is not very good. I used to think he was, but he just is like a really fine, like he's just fine.
Young Samaj AP Ryan.
Young Samaj AP Ryan. Yeah. Young, so he could be a goal line back. He could be a third down back. He's huge. He was a quarterback at Texas.
Yep.
So he knows the pass protection and everything. I mean, that is just that's him, man. He just is a fine player.
My only so I'm not drafting Roschon right now, specifically because I'm it's one of those like your fingers like hovering over the the button, just waiting for news. I think it's possible that Roschon is the best click on the board. Okay, second best, because I'll soon get to my best click on the board. But like one of the very best clicks on the board. I'm just like truly terrified that the shoe drops and it's like, oh nope, this running back is now a Bear and Roschon is like inactive on game.
Yeah, but who would it be? I'm not really scared of Dobbins or Chubb.
But guys get cut. It's more so like
could be
what I mean?
I guess.
Yeah, like somebody
could be, honestly, it could be anyone. It could be, it's like Roschon is not good enough that some, Kareem Hunt gets cut by the Chiefs and ends up
it's
in
like
Chicago
that.
or
it's
something.
Like that. Yeah, exactly. Like literally anyone signing there could actually.
Yeah, literally anyone.
Yeah, which sucks. But if nothing happens, I mean, he's not around 15 pick if nothing happens. Like you said, he's round 12 or something. If nothing happens, like he'll play. If the depth chart plays out how it is right now, he's playing football in some meaningful role for the Bears offense that we like. So we'll see. I'm in wait and see mode, but I could very much regret that. I'm not in wait and see mode on. I've only done one tight end. So I also like this range of tight end. That's terrible spelling. Mike Gesicki is a guy who I have honestly
Gesicki's a good one.
I've really hated most years, and I actually hated last year because I think the perception of him, right? He's labeled as a tight end, and technically is a tight end, but
it's really just a slot wide receiver who plays in the red zone.
Yeah, he's a slot. Functionally in an NFL offense, he's a slot wide receiver. He can't block a fucking paper, but he's not a blocker. He really can't. Dalton Kincaid is a better blocker than Mike Gesicki, and Dalton Kincaid can't fucking block anybody. Yeah. So last year, I think we got a little bit out over our skis on Gesicki, the royal we, because they did have a fella. I don't want to get into this, but they did have a fella named Eric All, who I was like, this is the guy that could steal the real tight end snaps.
And Tanner McLaughlin.
Yeah, exactly. They drafted 2 guys. I really liked All, just as a player. RIP, by the way, tore the same ACL 2 years in a row. Eric All did. So it might just be over for that poor fella. But that's part of the reason why Gesicki is a great click. Now is they re-signed him. Burrow really went to bat for. He kept talking about.
I'll never forget. Gesicki tweeted the guy getting up off the couch drinking the beer gif. He quote tweeted Burrow being like, "Yeah, we really got to bring Mike back," and he's like, "Me?" It's very funny.
They would ask Burrow about, like, what do you do with T, right? Because we had the T contract situation, Chase extension, blah, 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 right? Like, they would ask about, like, what do you think you should do with all of your pass catchers? And he would always include Gesicki Chase, T, and Gesicki. And I was like, one of these things is not like the other, but Burrow always made sure. So the way he performed down the stretch after all went out, the way they passed, how good this offense is, the defense is going to be straight ass again in Cincinnati. So yeah, I think last year we were a little bit too high on Gesicki, and we haven't. And like the situation's so much better for him now, and we haven't adjusted at all.
Yeah. I got no issue. I got no issue with this one either. I mean, I wouldn't want to have like a giant bag.
No,
he's not like Gesicki.
He's not like your flag player.
We just can't. He just can't. He can't have a breakout season. Like, we just are very aware of who Mike Gesicki. It's same as Thielen. Like, I wouldn't want to have 27% of Thielen.
He's tight end Thielen. He's tight end Thielen.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. All right. What are we in, round 17?
16.
Round 16. You know what? Let's do Marshawn Lloyd. Kind of just the same thing. Just another, he probably is like not going to play and like somehow be behind Emmanuel Wilson, but like also he might just be the running back too. I've been saying this on every show, so people are probably sick of it, but like you can only get appendicitis once. His appendix is gone now, so that's at least one final destination injury that he can't get again. The Packers Matt LaFleur is so dedicated to using two running backs that even despite not really being able to use Marshawn Lloyd last year, they were using Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks. Emmanuel Wilson, I think, was a D2 college player, and Chris Brooks was a Miami Dolphins practice squad cast off, like totally not prospects who would demand, like, not third round picks, Now I do wonder.
Fort Valley.
Mm-hmm. There we go. I knew it was not a big school. I do wonder if they plan on using Savion a little bit as a running back. Like, I think they drafted him as a wide receiver. I actually think Savion is a huge vote of no confidence on Dontavian Wicks because he's another big, raw, physical, down the field guy. And he's 6'4", so like using him as a running back is the two examples you can point to of running backs being that big and being any good are Latavius Murray and Brandon Jacobs. But he was really good at it. He only had like 60 carries, but like all his carries are just like, he is just super dynamic, great tackle breaker. He was really, really good. So I do wonder if he gets like 20 carries or something, which is, if Marshawn Lloyd's only going to get 90.
Big Percy Harvin or something like that.
Big right? Percy Harvin, totally something like that. But I mean, this is a round 3. I mean, this is basically Trey Benson, but in round 16 for the Packers.
We just don't have proof of concept, right? We have
at least no proof of concept.
So we pay where do I have Benson, right? Round 11. We pay a 5-round premium because I have some proof of concept of Trey Benson. We have none for Marshawn Lloyd, but they're the same thing.
Yeah. 100%.
He's another one that's like, it's like a good bet, but it's so terrifying. Like, you feel so uncomfortable, but I agree with you. I'm totally with you. I think I put my guy in round 17. So round 16 is one of the very few rookie wide receivers I'm taking some shots on late, but I mentioned the Broncos thing earlier. I already mentioned Pat Bryant. I'm not like some big Pat Bryant stan, though a lot of where I'm from, people are Illinois fans and went to Illinois and all that kind of stuff. So I probably see the games and everything a little bit more than the average person does. I think I was just a tick higher on Pat Bryant as a prospect than the market was. And then we got like, holy shit, what? Pat Bryant, 3rd round pick to the Denver
That was
Broncos?
That was one of the most shocking picks to me. That one was totally out of left field to me.
Crazy, just absolutely crazy. And so I'm just kind of like, I think he's a fine prospect, right? Like, not awe-inspiring or anything like that. But I'm just kind of following I don't know, man. Like, Lil Jordan Humphrey has done stuff in Sean Payton offenses, and like, who knows? Like, it's kind of just it could be anything, even a boat, right? Like, Pat Bryant could be anything. He's a 3rd round pick, and we just don't get, like, Kyle Williams is going in the 11th, like
Yeah.
11th round. And it's like, they're both 3rd round picks with like some form of potential projectable role. Like, just give me the round 16 guy. So I'm not like flag planting this dude. I just think with the combined draft capital, I really like the Broncos offense in year 2 of Nick's. Like, I don't even know if Marvin Mims will ever be a full-time player. Maybe Pat Bryant is. I don't know. It could be nothing, but it's round 16. I'm down to find out.
Yeah, I'm totally, I got no issue with Pat Bryant. Again, not a guy I'm like jamming in, but
right.
Pretty good, I think.
All right, round 17. 2 more.
All right, so I need to toss in a tight end at some point because if we're trying to do it, and I do
Your
take
only
a lot of
tight end
late
is
round
Travis
tight ends.
Kelce. So
Yeah,
yes, we need to up the tight end game here.
I'll put Mason Taylor in. I think he actually probably gets a little bit before, but you know, we talked about the Jets receiving core earlier, and like even if you have the Jets for like 390 passes, Garrett Wilson's not getting 290 targets. So you have like Mason Taylor, Jeremy Ruckert, Josh Reynolds, maybe or maybe not Alan Lazard. You're gonna, Malachi Corley, who like got on the field last year, scored a touchdown, and then fumbled out the back of the end zone. Arian Smith, like maybe the worst draft pick in the 2025 NFL draft.
When you mentioned the most shocking, Pat Bryant was there until the Arian Smith pick happened.
Yeah,
for me.
Tyler Johnson of Minnesota Gophers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Los Angeles. Like they don't have a second wide receiver. Is the point here? Now I don't know if Mason Taylor's any good or not, but he was like what, the 42nd pick in the NFL draft. I mean, and he's not a blocking tight end. Like he's like, Tip Ryman is drafted in the 2nd round of the NFL draft. You could basically forget he exists because he's just a blocker. Drew Sample, 3rd round pick, but like Mason Taylor was drafted as a receiving tight end.
He was playing every snap at LSU, literally every snap.
So I assume this is like basically an every down tight end. Like if Tyler Conklin had not signed with the Chargers and the Jets hadn't been taking Mason Taylor, I'd put Tyler Conklin here as a guy. He's going to get 600 yards and 4 touchdowns, and maybe it happens at the right week.
And the nice thing about Taylor is, right, like you said, I don't know how good he is. There's just always some small sliver at the top of a rookie, especially a 2nd round pick, that you're like, he's just awesome. Right? Like he is not a Sam Laporta level prospect, but I'm just saying, like, shit happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Mason Taylor was held back by Grant Nussmeier or what. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying 2nd round rookies sometimes are just really good, and you don't get a projectable like starting role 2nd round draft capital in the 17th round. Like, you just don't really get that. Or even if we say 16th, right? You could probably swap Lloyd and Taylor if you really wanted to. Like, it seems pretty good to me. And I was not a Mason Taylor fan, honestly, but it's just like it's like the Pat Bryant thing. Like, sometimes I just gotta like suck it up and deal with the draft capital. Like, it is what it is. My favorite pick, I'm not taking him in the 17th because I'm taking him earlier in every single draft right now until the price makes any sense at all, is Will Shipley. I'm also not going to go into like a crazy monologue because he's another guy to me that like just come on. Saquon is the 102 and Kenny Gainwell is not on the team anymore. AJ Dillon is the 3rd running back. Like he's going to play like 20% of snaps period and has the best contingent value in all of football. And he's available in the 17th round. Like I'm talking about Trey Benson as the best pick in the 11th round. Like I could make the case that Will Shipley's a better pick than Trey Benson straight up, and I can get him in the 17th. It's silly. It's foolishness.
Yep. 100%. Round 18, I'll do just KC running back 2. So if your opinion is that's Brashard Smith, do that. If your opinion is Eli Mitchell, do that. If your opinion's Kareem Hunt, do that. I basically don't have an opinion. I think that probably Mitchell, if I was handicapping it today, is most likely. But if Deneric Prince, Darwin Thompson, like we've done this so many times, but one of these guys is probably going to matter because Pacheco is coming into the season banged up, coming back from a literal broken leg that he returned from way too early last year. So these are like, I guess I would put it this way. If we knew who it was, if Kareem Hunt if Kareem Hunt hadn't been re-signed, so it's just Mitchell, Brashard Smith, and Pacheco, Eli Mitchell would be going like where Guerendo is going, I think.
Yeah. At least. Yeah.
But there's just no market certainty.
Somewhere between the Benson, Guerendo, whatever, if we knew what we were getting. Especially because, like you said, Pacheco's just not that good. So he also has a starter in front of him who's not like in foul. This isn't Will Shipley where Saquon's in front of him. It's Isaiah Pacheco is in front of him. So even then you're like, I don't know, Eli Mitchell could get hot hand, right? In week 6, they're like, Eli Mitchell's cooking, let him get 20 carries, even without Pacheco being hurt. So I'm with you. This and the Bears, you have Roschon and Casey on here, are the two like I'm monitoring, like set up Google alerts for those situations, because as soon as we get some real clarity there, they're the best picks on the board. I will just toss in Jarquez Hunter.
As
my 18th round guy, really 3rd round pick for the Rams. Just Google him and listen to like Sean McVay and Les Snead and those guys talk about Jarquez Hunter. Also look up, he's a bodybuilder, and he's a very unique player. Our good friend JJ Zacharyson loved like I liked Jarquez Hunter, and then I listened to JJ talk about him, and I fell more in love with him. But really, it's a lot of the same thing we've talked about here today, right? Like I kind of like, I have him penciled in as the Rams RB2 right now over Blake Corum. I'm not saying that's a certainty, but I'm saying like Blake Corum goes ahead of him, and I can get Hunter in the last round of drafts, and so be it. He's the 3rd running back on the Rams. I think I'll be okay. If I get the backup to Kyren Williams in the last round, that's like highway robbery, right? Blake Corum was going at like pick 105 last year when we thought he was the backup, and this guy's going at pick 212. So yeah, Jarquez Hunter. Really quick, I'm just going to run these down, and then we'll get out of here. For Davis, round 1, Justin Jefferson, Devon Achane, Rashee Rice, Breece Hall, Jaylen Waddle, George Pickens, Caleb Johnson, Caleb Williams, the Caleb Bros, Travis Kelce, Brock Purdy, Bhayshul Tuten, Jack Bech, Isaac Guerendo, Adam Thielen. Such a unique group of guys to go from Travis Kelce, Brock Purdy, Tuten, Bech, Guerendo, Thielen, Roschon Johnson. This is the growth of your fantasy game is on full display with this group of guys here. Marshawn, Lloyd, Mason Taylor, and pick your flavor of KC running back 2. I went with CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Rashee Rice. Also, our one agreement. We agreed on a lot, but the one crossover, I think, to take away from Rashee Rice, DeVonta Smith, RJ Harvey, Chris Godwin, Stefon Diggs, Baker Mayfield, Trey Harris, Justin Herbert, Trey Benson, Dallas Goedert, TJ, Tyler Allgeier, Braelon Allen, Mike Gesicki, Pat Bryant, Will Shipley, and Jarquez Hunter. That was fun. We agreed a lot more than I think we agreed like on like 70% or something, which is a much higher number than I probably thought was going to happen. But anything else for you? I know you got the Swolecast coming up here, which of course people have to go back and watch by the time they see this. But anything else you got?
No, that was that actually, I would encourage those of you who listened or watched to do that exercise yourself, because it might surprise you a little bit to be like, oh, actually, I do really like this guy, and maybe I don't take him that much because of structural reasons. But when I'm just looking at these like 15 players who roughly go here, and I will say Peter did this video on the Deposit Kingdom that I think is like such a good idea, which is like reverse engineering your drafts. I think that's such a great way to go about it. Like if you are constantly in your drafts being like, it's round 15, I don't know who I want to take. Like my team is like not going to make sense if this guy doesn't get to me. So I think a great way to think about best ball teams is building them from round 18 back.
That's it. That is a great point. Just before we go, who's the one player that most shocked you that you picked?
Thielen for sure. The fact that Thielen and maybe Caleb Williams too. Just like I guess that's just more about the quarterback pocket. But definitely like Thielen, Roschon, just like these kind of like boring, like get me over the hump style guys. But if you've taken enough zeros in round 15 in the past, like sometimes you maybe will just want to graduate a little bit more towards safety.
If you drafted Kamani Vidal last year. You're gonna love Adam Thielen this year because you ain't getting zeros like we got with Kamani. But I will just add my it was Gesicki for me, where I was just like, he just feels like straight oatmeal, like not that exciting. And then you, like you said, you get to that range and you're like, I don't know, he really pops off the board in that spot. So yeah, a fun exercise. I definitely agree. Do some of these little thought experiments yourself, and I think you'll learn a lot about your process. But we're going to get out of here. Go hit the link in the description for Davis's YouTube. I'm sure you're already subscribed, but just in case you are not, and you can get a whole shit ton of best ball drafting streaming over on Davis's channel.
Sure,
but I'm sure you'll see the two of us over the course of the summer, and enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys. Peace.